I'm recording. When we factor, remember that's where we're multiplying the first and the last together and trying to find the two things that make what's in the middle and splitting it up and slashing it, right? So let's review one just real quick. Let's say I have x squared minus 12x plus 36. So my first step is to check for a what? GCF. Does this one have a GCF? No.
Are y'all sure?
So, no, because you can't divide everything by anything.
12 times is 36.
But not the first one. There's not. Guys, I need your attention at the front, okay? That's enough. Now, you can't divide every term by any specific number. Do we agree? Because the first one has a 1 as a leading coefficient, right?
Yes, no.
All right. So I need to go ahead and multiply A and C together. What is A times C? 36. Tell me two things that multiply to positive 36 but add to negative 12.
Listen, I'm going to calculate and I put all the negatives.
12 and 3.
All right, listen what I've heard. I've heard 12 and 3. I've heard 6 and 6. When you add them, what does it have to equal?
Oh, it's 6, 6. Yeah.
It's negative 6.
It's negative.
They both have to be negative. When you multiply the two negatives, they make a positive. But when you add negative 6 and negative 6, it gives you negative 12. So what I do is I split this 12 up so that I have x squared minus 6x minus 6x plus 36. Everything else stays the same. Yes, I. All right, I'm going to slash it, yes, but you need to, you're doing that because of these two, but if this wasn't a 1, that wouldn't work.
But if it's on my test and it's like, can I just put it like that?
I won't see your word. All right, what's the GCF of the first two? X. What's left when you take out an X? All right, the middle sign is minus. Samoria. So this one changes to minus. So what can you take out of the second two? 6. What's left? So because this is the same, I write x minus 6 and x minus 6. Okay? Now, if you went backwards, you would FOIL. You'd come back to what you started. Now, what happens, bless you, if it looks a little bit different? Okay, in other words, let's say I had 4x squared. Let's do minus 9. This is new. This is a little bit new, okay? But we're going to still do the same thing. Why does it look different?
Because you don't have a third.
Binomial.
It's a binomial, not a trinomial, guys. Okay? So what is missing? The B is missing. Does everyone see that it's the B missing, not the C? Can we see that? Do we see? So when B is missing, this is part of it, yes. Put in 0x, okay? In other words, you've got to have a B to factor it, right? Right. So if it's missing, let's make it be 0.
0x.
Yes.
The B is
So if the B is missing, put in 0x. Look. 4x squared plus 0x minus 9. Do we all agree?
No.
Why no? All right, watch. B always goes in the middle and B always is hooked to an X.
Okay.
Now, I want you to watch. Yes, A is 4 and C is negative 9. That's exactly right. What is A times C? Negative 36. Now think about this before you answer. I need two things that multiply to negative 36, but they have to add the 0.
Negative 6.
That's right. That's right. That's 0.
Okay, right?
That's right, Zaya. 6 and negative 6. When you add negative 6 and 6, you get 0. When you multiply 6 and negative 6, you get negative 36, right? So now I'm going to have 4x squared minus 6x plus 6x minus 9. Now it's the same thing I've been doing, right? So it does change a little bit. What is the GCF here? 2 what? 2x. What's left?
2x would be
2x minus 3. The middle sign is plus. What's the GCF here? 3. What's left? What they share is 2x minus 3. And what's left? That's right. Does that make sense?
Oh, so you don't put the 6 plus 6?
What plus 6 do you see? No, I took the GCF. When I slashed it, I took the GCF out of both of them.
Okay, so
Let's do another one like that.
basically doing the same thing as you said.
you do the opposite way, so we do the negative 6.
Do the positive 6 first and then the negative? Yeah. We'll do that next time so you can see.
No, no.
Mm.
Okay, so if the 6 is
Remember, first thing I want to do is look for a GCF, right, fellas? And this one doesn't have a GCF. You can go get them. So now what I want to do is I want to say, okay, what's my A, my B, and my C? What is A? Uh-oh, when I get to B, it's not there. So I need to add a 0, right? I need 16x squared. This wasn't on yesterday.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was number 18. Oh, wait, no.
That one's different. It's different if you're missing a C. That was the very first thing we did. All right, so B is 0. What is 9? Oh, gosh. What is C? Negative 9. All right, you're definitely going to need your calculator. Franklin, I'm going to take that phone if you don't put it up. He's already going to get them. What is 16 times negative 9?
Negative 140.
Is it? All right, so, yep, that's exactly right. So I need two numbers that multiply to negative 144 and add to 0, and Kennedy and Zaya both say it's negative 12 and 12, and that is correct. Okay? So I'm going to fill in my B. I'm going to split it up. This one, the numbers are getting a little bit bigger, so it's getting a little bit harder, but not impossible. All right, let's slash. That's not what she said. Do not. Do not. I think I want y'all to factor. What is the GCF of 16x squared and 12x? 4x, right? Oh, Christian, you weren't in here. I forgot to put the negative second. I'll do it next. What's left when I take 4x out? Middle sign. What's the GCF here? Shh, 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 shh. What's the...
No, 3.
3. What's left? What do they share? What's left? Let's do one. Zaya asked about one that has a GCF. All right, so my first step is always what? What about even before then? Look for a what? Look for a GCF. Does this have a GCF?
Yes.
Ooh, yes on this one. Why?
Oh, it's
4. If you take a 4 out, it leaves me with x squared minus what? What's 400 divided by 4? 100. Okay. Sorry. Be confident. Say it louder. What's A? What's B? Uh-oh. 0. So I need to add that 0 in, right? I'm going to give you just a second to catch up with me. Let me label my A, my B, and my C, and then I'll let you catch up before we do it. What two things? A times C is negative 100. Give me two numbers that multiply. Ooh, no. No. That would multiply to...
No.
You want multiplies to negative 100. Yes, 10, negative 10.
now I so you just said that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh.
All right, so I'm going to split up. I've got x squared plus 10x minus 10x minus 100. Christian, I put the minus second for you this time. So let's slash. The 4 stays outside and it just keeps carrying down with the problem, right?
Oh.
Right. All right, what can I take out of the first two? 1 what? X. What's left? Plus. All right, this middle sign is a minus, which means I have to change this one. Then you factored wrong.
Oh, so
If you found the right two numbers here, they'll always be the same. Once you find the GCF, what's the GCF here? 10. So you know it better be x plus 10 in parentheses. And when you take it out, it's x plus 10. All right, so 4 is still on the outside, right? The x plus 10 is what they share. The x minus 10 is what they have, is what's left. So the good news is the very last concept we're going to talk about today, y'all are going to be pros at because it's grouping. And y'all already know how to group. That's the method I taught you to factor in. All right, so the deal is now we're going to look. Grouping, and then we'll talk about solving. We'll lump all this together and get into solving. All right, so when we factor by grouping, what happens is we want to make sure you're in standard form. Now, what does standard form mean? We've talked about this before. That greatest what? Greatest to least what? Exponents. That's exactly right. When you see 4 terms originally, your brain should automatically go to grouping. Okay, from now on. When you see 4 terms as a polynomial, you're going to think grouping. All right? Now, we've already done grouping. We made our 2 terms in the middle to make 4 terms, though, okay? These start out with 4 terms. So let's write it in standard form. In standard form, what does it look like? X to the third minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 6. Excuse me. It's biggest exponent down to smallest exponent. Once it looks like this, you just slash it like we've already done. It takes away that finding the rewriting the B. When you slash this,
X
what is the GCF of the first two?
minus 1.
You're close, you're just saying it wrong.
Negative 1.
X squared. Somebody, you said x2, x squared, same thing. What's left when you take that out? X minus 3. This is why we practice so much with those GCFs, okay? All right, middle sign. And what's the GCF here? 2. What's left? X squared plus 2. X minus 3 is what they share. X squared plus 2 is what's left. It's the same method we've been using. Remember I told you there's different methods to factor. I feel like grouping is the easiest because it makes the most sense. And it's backwards foiling. You can see the backwards foiling going on. But since you already know how to do that, that makes grouping whenever you have something like this even easier. Okay? Let's do another, then we'll solve. Yeah. So I see right off the bat that it is already in standard form, and there are 4 terms instead of 3. So when there's already 4 terms, I want to try to slash it and see if it works out, right? So let's see. If I slash it, what's the GCF of the first 2? X squared. What's left? Yep. Middle sign. What's the GCF? That's right. So factored, here's what they share. Now what's left? See how it's the same thing we've been doing? Let's see how well you understand factoring. That's it.
When am I testing this? Next week?
Monday probably.
Monday.
All right, let's see if you understand.
Wait, don't you say we don't get that many Monday grades though? That's why the Monday grades rated up so high.
All right, this one is a solve problem. Okay? And anytime I'm solving, I need to make sure one side of my equation is what? But wait, before you do any of that, before you start solving, you need to make sure one side is 0. Okay, remember that? So plus 24 on both sides. Now, once it equals 0, I'm ready to start factoring. So tell me what's the first step in factoring? GCF. Always GCF. That is always your first step, no matter what method you think you're going to use. That's always your first step. Okay? Even bigger than 3. 3 what? 3x. See how everybody's got an x? Take that out. Okay? So if I take a 3x out from everybody, well, this one's only got 1. What's left? X what? Squared, because I'm taking one of these x's away from everybody, right? And I'm dividing by 3. What's in the middle? Plus what? 8. Well, you took the x away. It only had 1 and you took that away. All right, remember the goal is to get it factored. So once I have a GCF on the outside, I look at the inside and I say, can I factor that?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, let's look at it. What's A? What's B? What's C? What's A times C? 8. Are there any two numbers? Good job, Zaya. It's 2 and 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this. Forget about the 3x for right now, okay? X squared plus 2x plus 4x plus 8. That still equals 0, and that 3x is still out there. Slash it. All right, 3x is still here. What's the GCF? This one's got 1x, this one's got 2, and this got 2 in front. So 1x is the most I can take out. What's left? X plus 2. Middle sign. What's the GCF? 4. What's left? All right, so factor. The 3x is there. What do they share? Now, I'm not done because I have to solve this. So when you solve and you're multiplying, what do? Set everybody to 0, right? So notice, because this one's got an x, it's going to have one of my answers in it. So if 3x equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0, or x plus 4 equals 0. Does that make sense? How about the first one? If I solve that for x, you do, yes. Now, Kamari, here's the difference. If it was just a 3 outside, you would ignore it. It wouldn't impact the answer. But because it has an x hooked on it, if there's a variable out there, you have to set the variable equal to 0 also. That's right, -2. Good job, y'all. Yes. Yes.